For years, one question has remained at the center of the royal family's most emotional divide. Will Prince Harry's children ever build a real relationship with their grandfather, King Charles? Behind the palace walls and beyond the headlines, there has been a quiet but deeply personal story unfolding. A story not just about titles, security arrangements, or public appearances, but about a father, a son, and two grandchildren growing up separated by thousands of miles. When reports began circulating that Prince Harry might return to the United Kingdom with Meghan Markle and their children, many royal watchers believed a major turning point was approaching. After years of distance, public disagreements, and painful accusations, could this finally be the moment when the family moved toward reconciliation? For King Charles, the possibility carried a meaning far greater than any royal event or official engagement. It represented a chance to reconnect with grandchildren he had reportedly spent very little time with since they moved away from Britain. But just as hopes began to rise, everything changed. The possibility of a family reunion suddenly became another chapter in one of the most complicated royal stories of modern times. And this time, the focus was not only on Harry and Meghan's decision, but on the emotional impact it may have had on King Charles himself. Because behind the public statements and media coverage was a much deeper question. Was this another missed opportunity for reconciliation, or a sign that the distance between the Sussexes and the royal family had become almost impossible to bridge? Before we look at what happened, it is important to understand why this possible visit created so much attention. For years, Harry's relationship with his father has been under intense public scrutiny. Their relationship changed dramatically after Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal duties and moved to the United States. Since then, the world has watched a series of major moments reshape the family dynamic, from interviews and documentaries to Harry's memoir and public discussions about private family matters. Each event created new tension, but there were also moments when both sides appeared to leave the door open. King Charles, according to many reports, has always wanted some form of connection with his son and grandchildren. For a grandfather, time is precious. Children grow quickly. Childhood moments cannot be recreated. Birthdays pass. Milestones happen. Memories are made, or missed. And that is why the possibility of Archie and Lilibet returning to Britain carried so much emotional weight. This was not simply another royal appearance. It was about family. The reported visit was connected to Harry's involvement with the Invictus Games anniversary events, giving him a legitimate reason to return to the United Kingdom. For many observers, this seemed like the perfect opportunity for a quieter family meeting away from the pressure of a major royal occasion. There would be a reason for Harry to be in Britain. There would be structure. There would be an opportunity for private conversations. Some believed this could become the first step toward rebuilding trust. The idea of Harry returning with Meghan and their children created excitement among royal fans who had hoped for years that the family divide could eventually heal. But then came the issue that has surrounded Harry's relationship with Britain for years: security. Harry has repeatedly argued that security concerns are a major reason he feels unable to bring his family to the UK. Since stepping away as a working royal, he no longer automatically receives the same publicly funded security arrangements that were available during his time as a senior member of the royal family. The disagreement over security has become one of the biggest obstacles between Harry and the institution he once represented. Supporters of Harry argue that his concerns are understandable. They believe that because of his position, history, and public profile, he and his family deserve protection. Critics argue that security decisions must be based on official assessments rather than personal feelings or royal status. And this disagreement created a difficult situation. Because while King Charles may personally want his grandchildren nearby, the monarch does not simply control every government decision connected to security. The system surrounding royal protection operates independently, with decisions based on risk assessments and official procedures. This meant that even if Charles wanted to help, there were limits to what he could actually change. And that became a major point of frustration for many watching the situation unfold. The public saw a grandfather who wanted to reconnect with his grandchildren. But they also saw a dispute involving rules, security, and responsibilities that went beyond one family. Then came the reports that Harry would not be bringing Meghan and the children during the UK visit. For many royal observers, the news felt like a dramatic reversal. A reunion that had appeared possible suddenly seemed uncertain. The emotional question became, if the opportunity was there, why did it fall apart? Different sides offered different explanations. Some argued that the security concerns were genuine and that Harry was simply protecting his family. Others believed that the situation had become connected to larger disagreements about status, recognition, and Harry's continuing relationship with the royal institution. The debate quickly moved beyond the visit itself. It became another chapter in the ongoing battle over trust. Because for the royal family, trust has become one of the hardest things to rebuild. Every public statement is analyzed. Every interview creates new reactions. Every attempt at reconciliation is followed by questions about motives and intentions. And once again, the family found itself caught between private emotions and public consequences. For King Charles, the situation is especially complicated. He is not only a monarch. He is also a father. Those two roles do not always align. The king must respect institutions, traditions, and responsibilities. But the father wants what many parents want, a relationship with his child and grandchildren. This personal conflict may be one of the greatest challenges Charles has faced during his reign. Because unlike a political disagreement, this is not something that can simply be solved with a meeting or an official announcement. Family wounds are much harder to repair, and every missed opportunity adds another layer of distance. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan have continued building their own life in America, raising their children away from the intense attention that surrounded them in Britain. For Archie and Lilibet, the situation is unique. They were born into one of the most famous families in the world, yet their connection to the royal family exists mostly through stories, photographs, and occasional visits. As they grow older, they will eventually have their own understanding of the events that shaped their childhood. They will one day ask questions. Why did they live so far away? Why were family relationships so complicated? Why were important moments missed? Those questions may become some of the most significant consequences of the ongoing divide. Because while adults debate headlines and public statements, children experience family separation in a completely different way. And that may be the most emotional part of this entire story. The disagreement over security, the media battles, and the public criticism may eventually fade. But the years between grandparents and grandchildren cannot be recovered. As the possibility of a UK reunion appeared to disappear, attention once again turned to the future. Could Harry and Charles eventually find common ground? Could the children develop a closer relationship with their grandfather? Or has too much happened for the relationship to return to what it once was? At this moment, no one outside the family truly knows. But one thing is clear. The distance between Prince Harry and the royal family is no longer just about headlines. It is about time. And time is something no family can ever get back. The collapse of hopes surrounding Harry's UK visit created another wave of questions inside royal circles. For many observers, the biggest issue was not simply whether Harry, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet would appear in Britain. The bigger question was whether the royal family could ever find a way forward after years of conflict. Because every time reconciliation appears possible, another disagreement seems to pull everyone back into the same cycle. Hope, expectation, disappointment, and then more distance. For King Charles, this cycle may be one of the most painful parts of the entire situation. According to royal commentators, Charles has often expressed a desire to maintain some form of relationship with Harry and his grandchildren. But wanting reconciliation and achieving reconciliation are two very different things. A family cannot rebuild trust with one person alone. It requires effort from both sides. And that has been the central challenge. Many people close to royal discussions have suggested that Charles has tried to balance two competing responsibilities. One side is the role of a father who wants peace with his son. The other side is the role of a monarch who must protect the stability and reputation of the institution he represents. Every decision carries consequences. Every meeting becomes a potential headline. Every private conversation risks becoming public. And that reality has made a normal family relationship almost impossible. The situation has also highlighted the different positions of other senior members of the royal family, especially Prince William. Unlike his father, William's relationship with Harry has reportedly become much more distant. The brothers who once appeared inseparable have taken very different paths. William has focused on preparing for his future role as king and protecting the future of the monarchy. Harry has focused on building a separate life outside the institution. Those two visions have created a divide that may be even harder to repair than the disagreement between Harry and Charles. For William, the issue is not only personal. It is also connected to the future of the royal family. As the next generation of leadership, he must consider how public disputes affect the institution he will eventually inherit. That does not mean William has no feelings about his brother. Family relationships are complicated. But after years of public criticism and private disagreements becoming worldwide news, many observers believe William has chosen distance as a way of protecting himself and the monarchy. Meanwhile, Meghan's role in the situation continues to be debated. Supporters of the Sussexes argue that Meghan has faced intense criticism and unfair treatment from the British media. They believe her decision to step away from royal life was necessary for her family's well-being. Critics, however, argue that Harry and Meghan's public approach after leaving the UK created additional tension and made reconciliation more difficult. The truth is that only Harry and Meghan know the full details behind their decisions. But what is undeniable is that their choices have transformed their relationship with the royal family forever. The question now is whether another opportunity for peace has been lost. Because with every year that passes, Archie and Lilibet grow older. The children who were once too young to understand the situation will eventually become old enough to ask questions. They will learn about the interviews. They will learn about the documentaries. They will learn about the disagreements that shaped their early years. And at some point, they may want answers from everyone involved. That possibility creates a unique pressure on both sides. Because future generations often judge family conflicts differently from the people who lived through them. They may not focus only on who was right or wrong. They may focus on who tried to repair the relationship, who reached out, who made compromises, and who allowed the distance to continue. This is why the relationship between Charles and Harry remains such a powerful story. It represents something many families can understand. A relationship damaged by words that cannot be taken back. A relationship affected by decisions made during emotional moments. A relationship where both sides may believe they were protecting themselves, but where the result is the same. People who once shared a close bond are now separated. The security debate may have become the public reason behind the latest disagreement, but many royal observers believe the real issue goes much deeper. It is about trust. Harry has repeatedly spoken about feeling unprotected and unheard during his time as a working royal. The palace, meanwhile, has maintained that decisions must follow established processes and cannot simply be changed because of personal circumstances. Both sides appear convinced that their position is justified. And when two sides believe they are defending themselves, compromise becomes extremely difficult. The result is a family conflict that continues playing out under the eyes of the entire world. Every statement is examined. Every silence is interpreted. Every decision creates new speculation. Yet behind all of the public attention is a very human story. A father who wants more time with his grandchildren. A son who believes he has been hurt. A brother who has moved in a different direction. And children caught in the middle of a situation they never created. The future remains uncertain. There could still be a private meeting. There could still be a moment when emotions calm and conversations begin again. History has shown that family relationships can change unexpectedly. But rebuilding trust after years of conflict requires something more powerful than headlines. It requires honesty. It requires patience. And most importantly, it requires both sides to believe that reconciliation is worth the risk. For now, the divide remains. The missed visits continue. And the distance between Harry and the royal family remains one of the biggest unanswered questions surrounding the modern monarchy. The story of King Charles, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and their children is not just about royalty. It is about family, time, and the consequences of decisions made when emotions run high. Because in the end, titles can be restored. Public images can change. News cycles can move on. But childhood memories and family connections are moments that can never be recreated. And that may be the greatest cost of all.